So, with vouchers is kind of one of the hot button issues that just passed the legislature and is going to go into effect next year. What effects do you think that's going to have on public education, specifically here in Austin? How is Austin prepared to handle vouchers going into effect next year?
So I think vouchers will affect Austin in a couple of ways. One, in the broader sense, the state has backed off of its commitment to fully fund public schools. So I see vouchers very much as the flip side of a coin of unwillingness to make investments in public education. So in that sense, Austin's public schools, like public schools all across the state, are going to suffer because the state legislature is redirecting resources away from public schools toward private schools. I think on a day-to-day basis, we're going to see in Austin what we've seen across the country where universal vouchers like these have been instituted. Most recently, Arizona is a good case study. What we find is that the money will go to subsidize affluent families who already have chosen to put their children into private schools. So the average Austin citizen, the average parents, the average school child is going to see less state investment in their school, and we're going to see a shift of funds from the working class, middle class, the 90% of us that send our kids to public schools, to the wealthy. It's kind of like the big, beautiful bill, what it did with taxes and shifting costs onto lower income families, making healthcare more expensive to give a tax break to the rich. That's what vouchers in Texas are going to do.
Right. I've read that 20% of the estimated $1 billion that will be set aside for it next year will go to families making over $160,000 a year. Right. And so people that would already be sending their kids to private school are now getting a subsidy on it, and 1/5 of the program's funds are going to be going to wealthy families.
Well, that's true, but if you read carefully, if lower income kids don't take advantage of the vouchers, then more of that money can go to higher end families. So it's not a cap. Initially, to get the law passed, they said, and $160,000 a year ain't median income. Not even in a wealthy city like Austin. I mean, we're into top 10% there. But we're going to see more and more of those families, I believe, take advantage of the voucher because many private schools, like here in Austin, St. Andrews, $10,000 doesn't get you in the door. And so I'm concerned that what's going to happen is the lower income families that this is supposed to help aren't going to be able to use it or take advantage of it, and more of that money will shift to more affluent families.
Right. But at the same time, the legislature has passed an $8.5 billion school funding package that's going to go from anything from teacher pay bumps to school security.
Right.
Do you think that will be enough? Some of it to special ed. Do you think that will be enough to offset the divestment that will come from vouchers?
No, I don't. And here's why. In 2019, there was a fight over school funding and vouchers in the legislature, and vouchers did not pass, even after multiple special sessions. And as a result of that, Governor Abbott held public school funding broadly hostage. So 2019, no new money for public education. Then came this thing called COVID, which caused all sorts of disruption and unanticipated costs to school districts. Then came this thing called inflation, that drove the cost of everything from labor to materials to building up. So between 2019 and 2023, 4 years, no funding for public education at all. So public schools got about 20% behind where they should have been. So this session, just to get caught up, most people, including Raise Your Hand Texas, Texas Association of School Boards, folks that spend a lot of time studying the school finance system, said that it was going to take somewhere between 20 and 25 billion just to get back to 2019. So 8.5 billion sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but not a lot of money when you're in a $20 billion hole.
Right.
And now with money being redirected to vouchers, and we believe that that voucher cost is going to skyrocket over time. Because remember, it's not just for private schools. Parents can put it in an account and use it for, all sorts of additional laptops, camps, homeschooling, and buying materials. And again, looking at some of the other states that have allowed this very sort of liberal voucher type program, we've seen a lot of abuse, and we've seen, in the case of Arizona, it explode well beyond what the initial investment was.